and see that the
Okay.
light comes on.
Okay.
What are they doing?
No, but
I get it. Oh, I know I'm on. That's okay. Are you guys on? You guys on your mic?
no, it says
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 24th, 2021 Peninsula School District Board of Directors meeting. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Chuck. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 3, approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Deb. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. It's been moved by Deb and seconded by Lori to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's approved. So I want to welcome everybody to this evening. The school board wanted to start tonight out with celebrations. We're so excited to be in our new community room. This will be the home to future school board meetings for maybe the next 50 years, long after we're gone. But we're so excited to have all of you here in this beautiful facility, and we have a couple more that'll be opening pretty soon. You know, Evergreen Elementary School, Artendale, we can't wait for those to open as well. One of the things we wanted to make sure, you know, we're giving some awards out to various people and entities, but it's also our last school board meeting with our superintendent, Art Jarvis. So we wanted, as a board, to say a few things about Art, or whatever Deb would like to do next. How about that? You're welcome.
I thought I'd have all meeting to prepare for this. So thank you, and thank you to the board for allowing me to present our gratitude to Dr. Jarvis as we say our farewells tonight. So with that, in true Art Jarvis fashion, I'm always good for a quick story. If you work with them, you know what that means. Right, Dr. Jarvis? Okay. In the spring of 2018, the Peninsula School District had generated the community momentum needed to pass a capital bond. However, we found ourselves without a plan, without funding for a plan, and without a superintendent to get it done. The school board decided to secure an interim superintendent for 1 year. And in July 2018, the board chose Dr. Art Jarvis as interim superintendent for the 2018-2019 school year. In addition to running the district, Art had one directive from the board: to make a plan for our district facilities. Facilities that were overcrowded, outdated, and failing. As Art put it after reviewing our situation, in the case of school facilities, the word urgent is not even adequate. Crisis may be a better descriptor. The district had not passed a capital bond since 2003 and had not built a new elementary school in almost 30 years. The schools were overflowing, with portables being placed on playgrounds and parking lots, and more families moving into the area. 4 capital project measures had been put before voters between 2011 and 2018, all failing. The district had nearly zero capital funding. Dr. Jarvis stepped in at the perfect time and took decisive action. A 1-year interim assignment turned into a 3-year journey to reclaim our Peninsula school facilities. A journey that included securing funding through the successful passage of a capital bond just 7 months after Dr. Jarvis arrived in our district. An unexpected school location change through a purchase of an existing building, a long-desired land swap, and an unimaginable and unbelievable aggressive construction schedule. A schedule that we all later found out as widely known in the school construction industry as the Art Jarvis schedule. As promised, the schools are being delivered on time and on budget. The passage of the bond has brought 4 new elementary schools to our district, 1.5 years earlier than scheduled. And through fiscally responsible and cost-saving steps taken by Dr. Jarvis and the district, that same bond is allowing us to remodel and expand 2 of our oldest middle schools, one in Gig Harbor and one on the Key Peninsula. In just 3 short years, Art Jarvis led our district in developing a facilities plan, securing the funding for that plan, designing 4 new elementary schools and 2 middle schools, breaking ground and construction of all 4 schools, and nearly completed all of these projects before his departure. Dr. Jarvis has put the Peninsula School District on a solid path to reclaim our facilities and to continue to build and maintain beautiful schools for our district. And if that was not enough for the past 3 years, during Art's time with our district, education was turned upside down when a global pandemic closed schools in March of 2020 and forced remote learning upon teachers, students, and families. Even when the world was on pause for a year, Art pushed ahead, rebuilding our schools while redesigning how we educate students during COVID. Even after 33 years as a superintendent, Art faced unprecedented situations during his time at Peninsula School District that will undoubtedly add to his colorful collection of quick stories. Art, the board, the district, and our community, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you have done for our district. We have put together a book that is dedicated to you from the board of directors, and it is a summary and reflection of your time and impact in the Peninsula School District. We are forever grateful.
Always good for a quick story.
And it is a book that shows the progression of his educational tour that he took to help pass the bond, the construction of all 4 of the schools, the drawings of our middle school. Could you stand at my phone? Yep. Anyway, it's a collection of all of the things that have happened in our district while he's here. Hopefully a great coffee table book, Sandy, that you can look back and say, oh, that's what you were doing for all those hours. So thank you very much. Thank you, Art.
We're back to that. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we give a shout out to all the people in the room because the voters are responsible for this building and all the other ones, so thank you, voters. We also want to give a super shout out to the city of Gig Harbor for allowing us to be in this room tonight so we can have this special tribute to Art, and especially thanks to Patrick Gillespie and Vicky from our capital projects team. If y'all could stand up and wave. Hold on a second. So as Deb said, it's been a pretty unprecedented year, as everybody knows. The school district went through a lot of stuff, and over the course of every school year, there's various awards that are given to different staff members and community members and so forth, but those awards are always nominated by fellow teachers or someone from the community. But there's one award every year that the school board determines the winner, and we ask for nominations. We contact principals, ask for nominations for who they think should win this award. Then the board reviews the nominations, and then we decide who the winner is, and then we present the award. So this is the school board's award. It's called the Karen Falin Award. The Karen Falin Award started in 2004 with Karen receiving the first presentation upon her retirement from the Peninsula School District to honor her for her outstanding dedication and service to the students, staff, and patrons of the district. This year, the board has chosen to honor not one but 2 outstanding district employees, Carmen Carter and Deb Earhart. So they are considered our evergreen elementary lunch ladies. For obvious reasons, our Sodexo people have worked nonstop from building our building since the shutdown. All of them cooked and then stood outside, rain or shine, for meal pickups all year long. Oh, 2-1. Oh, okay. All year long, these ladies made it extra fun by dressing up in a themed costume every Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday they called it, and involved the PTA, school, and most importantly, the kids. A lot of parents said this is the only thing that made their kids look forward to some days. It was their connection to God. It was their connection to their school. It was a connection to their school home and their normal life. These ladies went above and beyond to bring joy to our kids. Katie Walters and Hugh Maxwell have a few words to say.
When I first heard that they were getting this award, I was like amazed, and it's most well deserved for them. I've been in the district about 7 years, and I remember the first time I met these ladies out at Evergreen, one of the things they commented, well, you'll never have to be out here. Well, I didn't know at the time. I was just walking in. Truth be told, I don't. It's one of those schools, it's far out, it's hard to get to, but no matter what I throw at them, whatever they need, they just do it. Throughout this whole time, the high school a lot of times would pack the weekend packs, and numerous times they would run out, so they would go in and make more to make sure these families were fed. They did not let a single kid go hungry. They just kept making and making, and they'd call me, and we did like 150, and I'm like, how? Like, where are you, like, pulling this stuff? No, seriously, I was like in shock. And so, but no matter what, through rain, like you said, wind, the cold, they came up with the idea for Wacky Wednesdays to help engage with the kids. It was not me. They've loved those kids, they love those families, and this is a very well-deserved, so thank you for recognizing them.
You know, we call them our lunch ladies, but they serve so much more than lunch. They provide a first course of hope. They provide a side order of caring and a big old helping of love. Sorry. And, you know, it's just evergreen. I've been the principal there for 8 years, and I feel like it's just a great place for our community, for our staff, our students, and parents, and families. And these two are just such a huge piece of that, so well-deserved. And they do have superpowers. We got them some. If you've never been out to Evergreen, they have a lot of aprons. So we're hoping they'll be able to fit this in the rotation. So they are amazing ladies, and they are so deserving of this award. Thank you so much, Natalie. Appreciate it.
Make sure they don't leave. We're not done. Yeah. Don't leave yet, lunch ladies. Don't leave yet.
Soon you can leave, not yet.
So next up, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Jarvis will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And one of the reasons we didn't want anybody to leave yet is that OSPI has given the Extra Mile Award to child nutrition program operators and staff to thank the child nutrition heroes who persisted against many challenges during the pandemic. You have been the rock stars in every community you serve, and we celebrate your heroism during the past year. I'd like to read, when Governor Inslee announced statewide school closures, the OSPI Child Nutrition Services team took immediate steps to work with program operators to plan to serve meals in their respective communities. Your heroic efforts resulted in over 20 million meals that were served to kids in the first 6 months of the pandemic. School staff, child care employees, community organizations collaborated as the need for meals rose across the state. Meals were distributed not only from school buildings, but from community parks, bus stops, and in some cases delivered directly to homes by food service staff. Program operators continually revise their operations to meet the needs of families while continuing to provide safe meals that maintain program integrity. The child nutrition staff acted as liaisons between program operators and the U.S. Department of Agriculture to advocate for the changing dynamics in the communities and advocating for waivers and flexibilities to allow programs to better serve children. So with that, Katie Walters, would you represent all of your staff as we get the Extra Mile Award for the entire child nutrition staff?
And then next up, oh, are you going to do
I'm not done yet.
it? Oh, okay.
Actually, why don't we just go ahead with the Ellen Fay Award and have Ms. Anderson present that? We'll just do it that way.
I'm sorry.
No, take- That will
That's our
help.
new digs. I'm just kidding.
Good evening. The Ellen Fay Award, I'm not quite sure when it started, but Ellen Fay she worked in HR, and she was very dedicated to reaching out to our colleagues and employees and just going above and beyond, making them feel comfortable, answering questions, just working with them. Any new person coming into the district, she always met with them and basically got to know them. And so she was very involved, very dedicated to her job. And as a result, when she retired, it was determined that they wanted to start an employee award in her honor. And so that is what the Ellen Fay Award is. This is an award that colleagues around the district, they submit their recommendations for individuals that are deserving of this award. Tonight, I am pleased to deliver the Ellen Fay Award to Donata Butchko. Wait, you hold that.
Okay.
Okay. So as people submit their recommendations for individuals, they write things about this individual. And so what we've done is we've taken kind of a collection of some of the pieces that individuals wrote when they made the recommendations. So Donata Butchko began her career in Peninsula School District as a classified substitute in October 2000. Do you want to stand over here? That way I can kind of look at you. She accepted a position at Vaughn Elementary in March 2004, but transitioned to Harbor Heights in April of the same year. Donata was the Harbor Heights office manager from 2008 until she accepted the purchasing assistant job in August 2015 and began the purchasing supervisor position in April of 2019. Peninsula School District is fortunate to have Donata on our staff. Donata sees opportunity where others see challenges. The one-day turnaround in an order, searching through surplus to locate an item needed immediately to avoid work disruption, or assisting staff through unique projects are just a few of the supports she provides on a daily basis. During these uncertain times, Donata has found every resource possible to make it safe for our staff and students to return to school. She has worked endless hours to secure different resources for our PPE, that's personal protective equipment, at very little or no cost to our district. Each day she began with making sure each building has the PPE that is needed. With forms she created, Donata has made it easy for the coordinators to request items. When Donata is not working with PPE, she is making sure all aspects of the business department are taken care of. She always makes herself available to office managers and bookkeepers to help them in any way that she can. Donata's passion is giving. She plays a key role in contributing, gathering, and delivering annual donations to the Children's Home Society. The Peninsula Bischoff Food Bank, sorry about that, is also near to her heart. Again, a large contributor herself, she also acts as a year-round drop-off point of contact for the district, for employees to leave items with her so that she can take them to the food bank. Donata exemplifies honor and warmth. She exemplifies the characteristics of an Ellen Fay recipient. I wanted to give Donata the opportunity. I know she has family members in the audience, and so I wanted to give her the opportunity to introduce her family.
Oh, okay. So I have 3 children. Oh, 3, and they all graduated from Peninsula High School and WSU. Go Cougs. And my husband is also a Peninsula High School grad, back when there was only Peninsula High School. So yes, you're old, but so I thank them because they support me every day in what I do, and they make me be a better person for anything that I put my mind to. So I'd like to thank Karen too for being a great mentor, and Vicki for being the best teacher ever. Don't change your cell phone number because I have lots of questions still. My girls, the business office girls, we have fun every day. This is part yours too. And then my Harbor Heights crew that showed up today, thank you. And then, of course, I have to thank the maintenance guys because they said I had to. And they wanted to rename it the Tina Fey Award. So, we'll see. But this award is, a lot of people. I didn't do it by myself. I learned a lot about PPE this year, more than I thought I would ever wanted to know. So I'm the expert, if anybody needs to know anything. And I did not know Ellen Fay, but I know people that did, and I hope that I make her proud. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can just leave things on, they can leave, like, oh, they are leaving. Sometimes they feel like they're going.
This, a few more elements of the superintendent's report. We're not done yet because yesterday we did close school, and this is the time of year where we get to do a number of celebrations, particularly after a very difficult year. But we also receive communications from others, and I'd like to do a brief excerpt, a letter we received from the Department of the Army. As the 2021 school year closes, I want to ensure that I extend on behalf of the Joint Base Lewis McChord community a very special thank you for your efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a relatively lengthy letter, so I'm not going to read it all, but I want to read in particular the efforts of the district staff members, school teachers, counselors, and support staff have been exceptionally executed with much compassion, courage, and expertise. Because of your efforts, the military service members in your community were able to continue their mission of service to their country by taking care of their children. So, signed by Colonel, U.S. Army, the commanding Colonel, Sky Duncan, and I would echo his comments and say thank you to the entire staff for that. But especially if you're aware of the military community, they come and go in ways that need some support, they need some extra help, and we do have those people, as others can attest, Natalie. So we say thank you to the Colonel for his recognition of that staff, of our entire staff. Then I'd like, Amy, while you're standing there, and you can do something with the water, our communications department has been awarded the Best of School Social Media by Social School 4Edu. There were 135 submissions from 34 states and Trinidad, and we were one of 12 winners. We were recognized with the Fantastic Facilities Campaign Award. In our submission, we included a range of social media posts to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, including but not limited to groundbreaking ceremonies, construction updates, aerial photos, school naming processes, ribbon cutting ceremonies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And for Amy Gordon and the communications team, we congratulate you on this Fantastic Facilities Campaign Award. And again, that's played a part in where we sit this evening, and I guess what makes it so special. So thank you, Amy, to your entire crew. One real short one, just a reminder for everybody to stay safe. We're getting alerts hourly, seemingly, on what the temperature is going to be, and this is an air-conditioned facility, and we're still debugging it, so if it gets too warm, you'll know. But we do say thank you to the facilities crew for the wonderful work in the Capitol facilities. Last would be, just as I close the superintendent's report, I do close my reports to the Peninsula School District, and I would like to say thank you to the board for those kind words, but I think mostly thank you to the entire board and the community for allowing me so gracefully to join this district for 3 years and become part of it. I will leave with a charge to you. We have begun with these 4 new schools and 2 modernized middle schools. But earlier when Donata was talking about Peninsula High School, my mind went to the work that the community has ahead of them for some places like Peninsula High School, and it's sorely needed. I won't have that time with you, but I will watch from the other side of the bridge as this community continues to do beautiful, beautiful work on your facilities, and may this room be used by the community for decades to come. That's what it was intended for. So I conclude my report to the board, Mr. Olson.
Thank you very much. I think if I could speak for the whole board, that we and the community are truly blessed by wonderful teachers, staff, and just the community support for everything we do. So thank you. Okay, so next up, we have comments from the community. We have about 11 people signed up. I would ask that you be gracious with your time. There is a time limit. Please try not to speak past your time. Tonight, we will take public comment. The board recognizes the value of public comment on issues related to the district business. In order to permit fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board provides time for public comment during each regular monthly board meeting. As a matter of practice, the board will not respond to your comments or engage in dialogue at this meeting. Most issues require that the board review all available information before making a statement. The president may request the superintendent delegate the response to the appropriate PSD staff member. We appreciate your understanding and cooperation. Prior notice has been communicated to the public on how to register to speak. All commenters will be allowed one at a time to speak to the school board for up to 3 minutes each. Board Policy 1430 states in part, the president may exercise discretion to interrupt or terminate an individual statement when it is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. So, are you going to keep time? Okay, so Tanya will keep time. When the beeper goes off, your 3 minutes will be up. First up, we have Sarah Garriott. We'd ask that each of you approach the podium and speak into the microphone.
Good evening, Superintendent Jarvis and members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to address you again this evening. I am returning tonight, as you are aware, to bring you 209 more signatures for our Honor the Majority Vote petition, which brings the total signatures of our petition to 610. For those who do not know what the petition is regarding, I will quickly reiterate. After the sex ed bill known as Referendum 90 passed at the state level in the November election, I went back into the Pierce County election data and found that Legislative District 26, which is also the Peninsula School District, rejected the sex ed bill in the majority. As you know, the vote was never about keeping our kids safe from abuse or whether or not we would have sex ed in schools. The vote was to determine if the state, rather than individual districts, would have control over the sex ed methodologies that would be taught across the state. Because the law passed at the state level, the methodology known as comprehensive sexual education must now be the basis of any sex ed curriculum chosen by every district in the state, whether or not the majority in the district voted it down. This petition then requests that our district honor the majority vote to enact only the minimum of the law. While the legislation states that it is not the legislative intent of the law that sexual education be integrated into other subject matters such as English, drama, art, or even math, our current sex ed curriculum flash gives examples of how to do just that. Furthermore, Lori Dills, the Washington State Director of Sexual Health, is on the record stating that she would like to see sexuality education be integrated into every subject in every grade from kindergarten through grade 12. An amendment was put forward during the debate on this legislation prohibiting this practice, and that amendment was rejected. Therefore, the legislation does not mandate integration, but it does not prohibit it either. And this leaves it up to individual districts to set the boundaries. We are requesting that a written policy be enacted in our district that no sexuality education be allowed to be taught or integrated into any classroom other than within the strict bounds of the formal sexual health ed class. We request that this policy include prohibiting sexuality instruction in school assemblies and teen-to-teen peer-to-peer sexuality education, posters in the halls, and other forms of sexual content outside of sex education class. Enacting this policy would ensure a true and honest opt-out for parents and offer real protection for youth who may suffer from sexual trauma. We also request that the district enact a written policy that a 2-week parental or guardian notice be given prior to any and all sexuality instruction or gender identity education in any grade. We also request that all education materials and titles be posted online prior to the beginning of the school year for parental review for full transparency. We believe that these measures will not only protect our children, but also protect our district and its amazing teachers from any misunderstanding or accusations. Putting these policies into place mean that anyone who voted to approve comprehensive sexual education in school will get it in full for their children in this district, but only in the formal sexual health education class. Although there were over 200 amendments to make the sex ed law more palatable, our legislature rejected every one of them. It is with great hope that we bring you this majority vote petition and ask you to set the boundaries requested around sex ed that our elected officials did not in an effort to protect our youth, educators, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, next up, we have Michelle Hambley.
Hi, I'm Michelle Hambley. I'm a KP resident. I'm here with concerns of some parents that couldn't be here tonight and some that are here and not speaking First, I want to recognize the board, have some gratitude for the board, administration, teachers, and staff that put our children first, as this has been an incredibly hard year all around. So I want to recognize that, and especially thank board members that fought the health department, teachers unions, and many others that put obstacles in your way and fought for our children and to have in-person learning. This did not go unnoticed. My husband and I are parents of 5, ages 13 to 28, and grandparents of 3, 1 in heaven. Of those 8 children, 5 are persons of color, 3 are Caucasian. Before coming to this district, I had to sit in my autistic daughter's classroom for a week to teach her teacher how to handle bullying of an autistic mainstream child in her classroom, in which she said it was not her job. 14 years ago, we moved here to a better district, in my opinion, an excellent district. My autistic daughter graduated Peninsula High School, I'm nervous, and now lives on her own. She made manager at Office Depot at 19, youngest ever. She works for the Gig Harbor Post Office. Why do I share all this? Because I ask you, do you want to continue to be this excellent district I just described that produced that child? Or add to the damage that has already started to my jubilant life of the party 14-year-old that is now suicidal, or my 13-year-old that has always had the highest marks and straight A's, that now has a couple of D's that he barely got up to C's. I do not blame you of this. It's my concern of what is coming in and happening. Mask and social distancing, number 1, need to go. But tonight I am here to talk about Senate Bill 5044. Governor Inslee passed SB 54, which mimics radical ideology agenda to indoctrinate our children. We do not have institutional racism in our district. Our kids need regular education, not ideology developed from Marxists. Many mothers and fathers of all races around the world have come forward against this teaching and curriculum. Even people who have immigrated from China have given strong warnings about these teachings. It is divisive. It will divide where there is unity. I learned about Martin Luther King in school. He most inspired me when I was around racism in the 80s. His message was of unity for all human race. Let's not tear that down. We will be praying for local control as these entities meet to determine standards and assign control over the summer. We will also pray for the school board to do the right thing once it receives local control, which is vote out this radical ideology teaching developed by Marxists and set policies to prevent teachers from teaching it in their own classrooms on their own. I'm concerned that if the school board does not get local control and then vote down this radical teaching, it will be used as a tool to demoralize our teachers and divide the damage of their children, and I will have to pull my children and uproot them again. Thank you.
Okay, I hope I can do this properly. Casey Olson de Toctaquiza? I know that.
Casey Olson is fine.
Okay, Casey Olson.
Oh, goodness. Here's my face. That's what I look like. Good evening, distinguished board members, Dr. Jarvis, Mr. Olson, fellow parents and citizens. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come before you tonight and speak. I speak not only for myself, but other parents, grandparents, and concerned citizens of our city. My name is Casey Olson, and I'm a longtime citizen of Gig Harbor. Hi, Deb. My family moved to Gig Harbor in 1983, and I attended Harbor Heights Elementary, Goodman Middle School, and I graduated in 1993 from Gig Harbor High School. I love my city. I love the beauty, the people, the hometown feel, and I love the sense of real community that Gig Harbor offers. I'm here also to speak to you tonight about what a lot of us are concerned about. So much has happened in the world with COVID, the virus, pandemic, masks, no masks, etc. Kids being out of school, everything seems to be in chaos. Things are changing, it seems, every day, and as a parent, I'm really concerned. I would like to voice my thoughts about the new mandate our governor has signed, SB 5044, and that is to teach critical race theory, or what we now call diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism. It actually is all the same thing. Per WashingtonVote.org, it adds equity diversity, inclusion, and anti-racism to existing cultural competency standards and training for school board directors, district staff, and school staff. While I am all for diversity, equality, inclusion, and civil rights, I married a man from Ecuador. My kids are biracial, speak both languages. I speak both languages, and they are beautiful, powerful, smart, and most importantly, they have deep character. I'm 1,000% against the teaching of SB 5044, Senate bill, and I would like to tell you why. It is divisive. It is racism, it's segregation, it's harmful, it teaches our children to be divided. It does not bring unity. It tears things down. And in one way, a slippery slope to socialism and communism, and it is unacceptable. Critical race theory, so we call Senate Bill 5044, is nothing new, but it has no place in our country, no place in our state, and absolutely no place in our school district. Our children are not oppressed, and they are not oppressors. They are children. They need to be taught to love one another, do unto others as you would have done unto you, to love our great country and be proud Americans. Our children need to be taught civics, true history, honor, and learn to respect the memories of brave men and women and youth who have gone before and fought for our freedom so that we can all be here tonight, dialoguing, listening, and talking with one another. The great Martin Luther King would be rolling over in his grave if he knew that this was the kind of things that we are now mandated, or you are now mandated to teach. I'm asking you to create a resolution to fight SB 5044. It does not belong here. Thank you so much for your time. I am for you. We are all for you. We appreciate you. We value you. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next up, we have John Blair. Is there a John Blair here? He's on. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me that.
John Blair had to leave, but he also emailed sentiments earlier this morning that went along with the
Thank you.
Senate bill.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, Tracy Geis.
I guess it's, she didn't want to do this.
Okay, what is your name then?
My name is Eric Geis.
Eric?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. First off, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak and thank you for all the work that you've done so far in getting our children back into school in the capacity that they are. It's been a tough year on all of us, so thank you. I'm here to talk about normalcy. Normalcy is what our students need in order not to be the casualties of COVID. That is why we are here today, to fight for normalcy for our children. I could sit up here or stand up here and cite lab results recently carried out in other states that show how filthy the masks are that these kids are wearing all day. I could cite the conclusive evidence that shows that the school-age children have not been the primary spreaders of this through this pandemic. I could reference the states that have lifted mask mandates in schools and have had no related increase in COVID cases. I could explain the latest COVID case counts and the infinitesimally small numbers of COVID cases in children that occurred in the last 18 months in Pierce County, let alone the isolated areas of Gig Harbor and the Key Peninsula. I can mention the steadily increasing number of depression cases in children since remote learning began. This has been ultimately led to increased suicides and drug and alcohol abuse among teenagers as well. The emergency rooms are not overran with COVID cases. However, the healthcare system is overran with the demand for therapists and for the children and families impacted by COVID. I could cite the obvious decline in academic performance of my own child and many others brought on by remote learning and an overall lack of normalcy. I could cite all this because it shows that we are not doing what is in the best interest of our children and the students in our district. We need to discontinue these senseless mask and social distancing requirements. If these truths mattered a year ago, then I would not be here today trying to convince the school board that getting back to normal is the single most important mitigation we can provide our kids to overcome the effects of COVID. We achieve normalcy by unmasking our kids and assuming full-time in-person learning on school grounds without failure. These mask requirements are doing nothing but causing a detriment to our children's health and well-being, which is the opposite of their intended purpose. We can no longer ignore the negative impacts that have been on display for over a year now. I have a daughter who is going into her senior year next year at Peninsula High School. It is her final year in this school district that both my wife and I graduated from this district as well. And it has given us the opportunities that we have today. All that I am asking is to lift these unnecessary mandates so our daughter and many other sons and daughters in this great school district can achieve the same success in their own academics and lives that my wife and I have. This is how we improve our children's mental health and physical well-being. This is how we achieve normalcy. Students do not need social distancing and masks. Normalcy is what our children need and what they deserve. Thank you very much.
Kurt Nickel?
How's it going? I've never really done this before, but we have two kids. My son is over in Minner Creek, and he's, been on Zoom the whole time, and we're exactly what he says. We got to get rid of all this stuff. We've already enrolled both of our kids. We will be starting homeschool next year, and we will not re-enroll the kids until these mask mandates are lifted. Social distancing is done. This is ridiculous. We have to stop this. And I agree with everything they're saying, and even with the CRT and everything else that they said even before this. So I just ask you guys to, look at the data. The data's out there. It supports all that. And let's please stop this so that we can get the kids back into school. And then once that's done, we will put the kids back in. Thank you.
Next up is Jen Bunch.
Thank you, Dr. Jarvis and board, for allowing me to speak tonight. I am Jen Bunch, and I feel all of you guys, so I hope I deliver. It is unnecessary and not healthy to continue to require our children and our school staff to wear masks at school while participating in school activities. The thought of our children being forced again to mask up per OSPI in the fall to attend school is infuriating. Why didn't the school this year monitor oxygen levels of students and athletes this year if it was about health? Why didn't, not good at this. Everyday temperature checks were a joke. If a kid pulled down a mask for an oxygen break, they were immediately instructed to pull up the mask. I've heard from countless parents whose kids are suffering in these current conditions. Masking children and inhibiting oxygen throughout the day and then masking athletes to practice and compete is dangerous. Does anyone care? An Oregon girl lost her pulse for 4 minutes after playing basketball, and the ER doctor looks at the mother and tells her, this is an isolated incident. This is due to the mask. It's from extreme activity having an obstruction of oxygen. I'm really sad about this. More scientific evidence is mounting in COVID-19 protocols are causing psychological and physical harm, particularly in our younger students, children that are vulnerable, going through important development changes. Can you please show me the science that demonstrates that the benefits and measures outweigh the harms? Mask wearing by symptom-free individuals for hours on end every day is a massive human experiment. It is known that surgical and cloth masks cannot block viruses. And if not worn or used very carefully, masks can do more harm. We beg you to put parents back in the driver's seat for our children by returning our schools to normal. No mask, no social distancing, no temperature checks, no plexiglass dividers, no contact tracing. Return to regular class sizes. Reinstate all extracurricular activities. The psychological and emotional impact of continuous face mask wearing is undermining the development and health of our children. The risk of mask, which was an EUA and an emergency use authorization, far exceeded any perceived benefit, especially for our children that are not at risk for poor outcomes of COVID-19. As parents and school board, we have a legal and constitutional right to challenge the unlawful, unscientific state requirements that put our child in harm's way. Abide by the oath in office that you took to uphold the United States and Washington State Constitution and put our kids first. Let's work together and remove the mask this fall and put students first. Thank you so much.
Jean Monday.
Good evening. My comments are going to be about Senate Bill 5044, and the language referenced is, quote, cultural competency, diversity, equity, or inclusion. My question is, how will Peninsula School District address or incorporate that specific language and implement it? And is it possible to not follow that mandate? Is that even a possibility, to refuse to comply? And I would be interested in what the training materials are for the teachers. I would be very interested in reading those and coming up to speed on that, and how would I go about obtaining that material. Thank you.
Next up is Carol Rivera.
Well, you guys know today is supposed to be my first day of spring break, so beautiful weather. Glad we're all here to celebrate. Oh, well, you know, I'm still thinking ahead. All right, I just wanted to let you know that I spent most of the day reflecting about the past year and ultimately what I wanted to say to the board tonight. Most of you know that my nature is to be very empathetic, and I feel emotions and other things very deeply from the community, from our leaders, from our students, and all of those things. And I just wanted to let you know that I think that in my role as a leader and your role as a leader, that showing empathy and emotion and those things are not a negative thing, right? I think that they are a critical part of a strong and effective leadership, and I have a few reasons why. I think no one should be ashamed that they care about others, especially in education. It is a foundational piece of the work that we do. Empathizing with others and understanding how and why people feel a certain way allows us to identify what is important and recognize our shared interests. This is the cornerstone of collaboration, effective decision-making, and joint problem-solving. Advocating passionately about the quality of our students' day and for staff who work most closely with them ensures that everyone has what they need to teach and learn effectively. In my role, I represent over 600 educators in Peninsula School District. We are classroom teachers, deans of students, counselors, nurses, instructional facilitators, technology coaches, speech occupational and physical therapists, psychologists, success coaches, and social workers. I think I got them all. We all play a critical part in educating the whole child. We are a team. We're committed to our students when they arrive in preschool through age 21. But we're tired. And it isn't a type of tired that can be fixed with a few weeks of summer off. We need the board and the district leadership to understand and commit to the social and well-being and emotional well-being of the staff. All staff. The district has committed to responsive programming to address the varied needs of students. Educators also need the district to be responsive to its employees and proactively address low morale and high attrition rate. It would be in the best interest of the district to assess the culture and climate so that we, as a district, building administrators, leadership teams, can understand the root causes and work with our entire educational community to rebuild our relationships. Those are what matter most. This enables educators to see ourselves as an integral component of the Peninsula Promise. Thank you.
Next up is Alicia Finch.
I don't think she can make it tonight.
And last would be Michael Chandler.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Your last meeting was the first time that I've been to a school board meeting, and I just want to compliment each of you. As I watched you work and the things that you discussed, I appreciate the fact that each of you are caring and seem to be very intelligent and know what you're doing. So my compliments there. You're well aware of the critical race theory, and that's a big issue that I think you're going to address. But the idea of racial justice and equity, I wanted to look up, what does equity really mean? And the definition is the quality of fairness and impartiality. And if you look at the way the current mandate is being implemented in this state and in other states, it is not fair and it's not impartial. And so I hope that we will have the opportunity to address that so that true racial justice may be accomplished. Beyond that, I want to just tell you, we have a daughter who was adopted at the age of 3. When she entered high school here at Gig Harbor High School 3 years ago, right at the beginning of school, she left home and started living on the streets. And whether it was camping out with someone else or living in someone's home who would accept her, she didn't want to be at home, and she participated in all the things that you might imagine while she was doing that. Approximately a couple of months later, after living on the streets for about 8 weeks, she decided that she did want to come home. And there were stipulations of her living at home. And to make the story a bit shorter, 2 weeks ago, she graduated from Gig Harbor High School. Her first year was a disaster. And so she had to make up all of that work and continue to do well. And so I want to compliment the teachers, particularly who helped Ashley through this time, and one of the counselors specifically, Tammy Walter Brooks, was very helpful and would not allow Ashley to slack. So she's graduated, she's already admitted to college, and we're grateful for all of the things that the Gig Harbor High School and this district have done for us. Thank you.
Is there anybody that would like to speak that has not yet signed up?
Hello, Gig Harbor residents. My name is John Garriott, and I'm wearing my dirty work clothes. I'm a contractor. So our society's facing all sorts of issues. In what I do, I get called by clients to come and look at their problems. Sometimes I'll be looking at an exterior wall assembly, and I have to investigate if there's rot. When you're looking for rot, sometimes it looks really nice, because somebody before you could have come and slapped a coat of paint on it. It'll look bright and shiny, and just like the rest of the wall. How do you know if there's rot? Well, I take my knife, open up the blunt, and I poke. And if my knife goes right into the wall assembly, I know there's rot. I beseech you to look at the social issues that we are facing right now, and many of them have been discussed. Use the poke test. Is it bright and shiny and painted? And does that knife go in? Because if the knife goes in, it's rot. And what do you have to do? You can't leave it alone, because rot will spread. If we don't stop these incorrect issues that are trying to take over our country, that rot will spread like a cancer. And you may have had a $250 repair, but because you don't pay attention to it, now you're looking at $5,000 or $10,000 repair. Please use principles of truth and investigate the issues and give them the poke test. Is it solid or is it full of rot? If it's full of rot, cut it out, fix it, repaint it, and let's go on about our business. Amen.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. That concludes our community comment for this evening. We will move into our district reports. Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, John first.
Thank you. So Dan and I are going to give you a little bit of preview and some follow-up on what we've talked to you about, what's upcoming for the summer. Want to just, before I get to the summer, just do a little postscript of the last couple weeks. You're going to see a slideshow that shows it much better than I can say, but I just want to give a shout out to everybody who made the end of the year special under difficult circumstances for all of our students. Whether it's fifth grade moving up, eighth grade moving up, all the various graduations, and just those end of the year celebrations that kids look forward to. And what we saw were kids who were connected, who were excited, who clearly, it was still an important experience for them, and that took a lot of work from our staff. So I just wanted to note that. For summer school, I'm starting with elementary. We have our Summer Boost program that we've talked to you about. We have about 75 students signed up for that. Remember, that targets students who are in second, third, and fourth grade who might be behind in reading. And so our staff has reached out to those families to invite them to come attend that. That's from July 6th through the 29th at Harbor Heights Elementary and at Vaughn Elementary. We have 3 teachers who are going to be working with students in that program, and maybe looking at a 4th one who may just be specializing in STEM work with those groups. We reached out to all of our EL students, and we have about 10% of that 75, close to 8 students, and that's a higher percentage than we normally have during the year. So we're really trying to target those students who need additional support. We're working with a team to make sure that it's a safe environment for all the students. The Boys and Girls Club is providing a partner program in the afternoon to help with mentoring, gaming, games, and camp-like activities in the afternoon. So, these kids are coming in the summer after a long year, and they're working hard on reading, and then they get some fun stuff after that. So that we appreciate our Boys and Girls Club partners. And lunch is available for all of our students in this program. Also, we have our Kindergarten Jump Start. That starts on August 14th through the 18th. Some of those might get pushed back in schools that have construction projects. So my Artendale and Evergreen and Swiftwater may be a little later than the 14th, but the other schools will be the 14th to the 18th. And again, we appreciate all the staff that sign up for that and help our students come and get on the bus and see what kindergarten can look like. And that's expanded this year too, in that normally it's just kindergarten, but because of last year, kindergarten and first grade kids will be able to attend that. And I think that's the elementary report. Dan, you're up.
Thank you, John. And if you haven't seen kindergartners get on the bus for the first time, it's an exciting thing when they get on the bus for the first time. Before I get into the secondary numbers, just real quickly, I don't know if he's still here. You commented on the facility, and you probably saw a gentleman out front with a tie and a sport coat on. He's walking out there now. David Brooks is the principal of Swiftwater Elementary, and I know he is so pleased to have you here tonight. He and his core team were here. Core team, are you still here? Stand up real quickly, core team.
There's Kelly out in the hall.
Kelly's out there with David, but I've had the opportunity to stop in a few of their planning meetings, and they're just doing a fabulous job.
There they are.
Planning for a really exciting education. And I forgot the gentleman's name that spoke earlier, but when you said Tammy Walter Brooks, that's the better half, whatever David would like to call it, of the Brooks family too. So David and Kelly, we just recognized you guys for hosting the first event here, so thank you for hosting. At the secondary level for summer school, we're seeing in the area kind of a decline from in the past. What I'd like to share with you is I'm going to start where I thought I was going to finish. When I added up the numbers of our programs, we have 500 students attending summer school in the various programs, or 500 courses being taken. When you think about, we're about 2,700 students at the high school level, that's about 18 or 19% of students or courses that will be taken over the summer. Pretty impressive, So really, we're pleased. I'm going to start with the Peninsula Internet Academy. There are 3 parts to the Peninsula Internet Academy. One of those is through PEAK, that's our contracted services. And these are online courses that our teachers monitor students' progress, but the students actually report to online teachers through the PEAK program. These are full online courses. These are not credit recovery. These are students who are working to advance themselves and open up their schedules or move forward. So that's the opportunity we have there. We have 30 students taking advantage of PEAK courses in everything from Algebra 2 to photo to creative writing, geometry, journalism, pre-calculus, psychology. So there's 30 half credits that students will be getting this summer to move themselves forward. We also teach our own online courses with our own online teachers through PIA. 3 courses we teach are college career and financial exploration, which is a requirement generally done in the sophomore year. We have 69 students taking CCFE through our online program this summer, and that again is a full course that will advance them. We have online PE that's done over the summer. There are 57 students that will be taking online PE, and they'll be charting their activities and reporting to a teacher. And we also teach health, and there are 41 students that will be taking health this summer. Again, those are full courses, open up student schedules, and advance them forward. So pretty impressive. We also have compacted courses through PIA, which are online courses, and as of right now, we have 50 students signed up to take online courses through the online credit recovery piece. So an impressive showing through our online system, an option that we've made available for students, and they are taking advantage of. The in-person instruction has 2 parts. One of those is the West Sound Tech Summer Academy that's held at Gig Harbor High School. We have 2 sessions, one that starts in early July and goes to late July, and another one that takes place over 3 weeks in August. The first session has 55 students registered for it. The second session, another 45. So there are 100 students who will be taking advantage of the West Sound Tech Summer Academy. They'll be in any of 7 classes: aerospace engineering, American Sign Language, college career and financial exploration, that other requirement, digital photo, environmental science, forensic science, health, and the Navy JROTC Navy Science. So 7 courses, 100 kids over both sessions. We are still continuing to enroll students in that, especially in second session. If we still have students who want to do that, they may enroll. I know there's some interest in the Navy JROTC, so I checked the numbers there. The first session is completely full at 20, and the second session currently has 14. I thought that might be of interest to some of you.
Good news.
So that is going well as well. I think we anticipated a higher enrollment, but it has, our counselors were really busy with seniors getting them graduated, as was alluded to earlier, so we may see some signups as we go forward as well. Finally, the new and unique summer school credit recovery, which used to be our credit recovery at Henderson Bay. We're doing it differently, and we talked about that a little bit earlier this year. 2 sessions, 13 days each. Students will come in for 2 hours of intensive academic support from 8 to 10 in the morning, and then we've incentivized them to come with a camp activity from 10 to 12. Right now, we have 118 students registered for session 1, and 100 students, one more just signed up today, had a meeting with our group today, and one more signed up today, so 100 for session 2. They are these are compacted courses, working with our teachers on our campus. The largest numbers are in algebra, in geometry, and in English 9 and 10. And so those are credits students either didn't capture from last year with incompletes last spring, or they're recaptured credits that were failed. So there again, we have over 200 half credits being achieved there. There are 13 teachers teaching those classes. And then we have 8 of them that are going to be supervising the camp activities from 10 to 12. Of those 13 teachers, I was looking at the list today, I think there's only 3 or 4 that have done summer school before. The exciting piece is they're not just coming in and teaching out of a book, they're looking through the curriculum. They are developing modules on the essential standards, and they are getting ready to deliver those. They're also building those modules within Schoology so that they can be there in the future, and we can update those, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel every summer. So it's an exciting piece. It's nice to have both the academic piece and the camp piece. And I just have to compliment the team that's been working on that. Melissa Wisner and Joe Potts have played a big role. James Cantonwine is our summer school czar. He's got the furry hat. He puts it on during meetings sometimes. It's a little warm to wear it, but he's really done a nice job coordinating all that. And I just have to give a shout out to Jenny Buys. Jenny is our success coach. She works with our students who struggle at both of our high schools. She's on the phone, she is hustling, and we wouldn't have this kind of turnout if Jenny wasn't out there making phone calls and encouraging kids to get that done. I was on the computer at about 11 o'clock last night finishing some stuff up for today, and I get an email from Jenny Buys at 10:59. And I said, thank you, Jenny, for the information. Now put the computer away and go get some rest. It's the last day of school. So she's just done a wonderful job as well. So thank you for letting me share. Again, I'll finish the way I started. I started adding up the numbers, and that's 500 students that are going to end up, hopefully, if they are all successful, getting a half credit. Again, that's almost, 18, 19% of our high school students. So very impressive. Great work by our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, next up is old business. We have a second reading and adoption of policy 3411, opioid-related overdose disposal. Just a quick synopsis. It's just the requirement for the school district to have at least 1 dose of naloxone in each of the high schools in case there's a drug overdose, and they would be administered by a nurse or a trained member of the staff. So is there any discussion on item 8.1? This is a second reading. Is there any discussion before the vote? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve item 8.1?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Lori. Is there a second?
That was Natalie.
Oh, that was Natalie. It's been moved by Natalie. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, by Lori. It's been moved by Natalie, seconded by Lori to approve item 8.1. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next up, new business, approval resolution 2121, award of the Key Peninsula Middle School addition and modernization project contract. Is there any discussion on item 9.1 before the vote? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve item 9.1? Okay, it's been moved by Chuck. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Chuck, seconded by Lori to approve item 9.
Can I ask one question? I do see Patrick here, so if I could ask one question, starting to feedback.
Oh, that's mine.
There we go. Okay. And I don't know if I brought this up before. I was going to ask about the arts. And I know that there's state funding for the arts, and we're required to put so much into new construction for the arts. Where are we at on that, like for the middle schools? Do we have to do anything No,
Putting art up.
putting art up, yeah, to provide some art.
Do I keep my mask on? So all of the state-funded projects have a 0.5% of the state funding for the arts. And the district hasn't decided what to do. So the district can elect to participate, I think, in a state program, return the money to the state, and then basically use the state's resources as a library, or they can actually pick a project for the specific project. So they haven't elected yet which way to go.
Okay, who was gonna make that decision? Is that something that Patrick's working on, or would it be at the board level?
I don't know. We look to the superintendent for direction. So.
And he said he's gonna put it off for a week.
There you go.
Okay.
We would have discussions with the superintendent, and if we have a recommendation, I would think that we might bring it to the board. So we'll, as we work through that, we'll discuss, and since we know you're interested, we'll keep you abreast of what we come up with.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Motion on the floor.
Yep. So it's been moved by Chuck, seconded by Lori, that we approve item 9.1. What?
That was Natalie also.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Chuck and Natalie. Sorry. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Item 9.1 has been approved. Okay, next up is consent agenda. Is there any discussion on tonight's consent agenda prior to the vote? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Lori. Is there a second? Seconded by Chuck. It's been moved by Lori, seconded by Chuck to approve the consent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's been carried. Next up is item 11. We have 2 performances from our middle school band and our high school choir. So if y'all want to stick around, it should be very enjoyable. And Tanya, do you have a video we were supposed to watch during the superintendent report? Okay, next up, we have board discussion and comments. You want to start with Natalie? You want to go first?
Yes, thank you. First time with the green button. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. It's really an honor to be here with you in this beautiful building, and I think, as David mentioned earlier, it's really a tribute to our community that we have it, and to Dr. Jarvis. So I will try to keep my comments brief and sequitur, but Dr. Jarvis, I want to say thank you for the years that you spent here with us, and I think I will share with everyone, I've always referred to Dr. Jarvis as our Mary Poppins. He kind of came in when we needed him, fixed things, got us set on a course, and the wind has changed, and I think we're ready to take off from here, and it's time for him to move on and go somewhere else. So you have done really tremendous work in the hardest year that any of us have seen. You have stood here and taken a lot of heat from everyone. As we all know, we're so divided on so many different topics, and I appreciate you standing firm for what's best for kids always, and for being a great representative of our district. Also, I want to thank everyone who is here tonight, whether you're here in celebration or to speak. Ms. Olson, I think you mentioned it's great when we can be here as a community and speak to each other. And I appreciate everyone's candor and respect, and it takes a lot of courage to get up here and speak to us, so I appreciate all of you. The award that we as a board got to give tonight, Carol, I hope that you will share this with your staff. It was not, it was easy because the women are fantastic, but when we look at a year of who has gone above and beyond, I would say pretty much everyone, and nothing that our staff has done has gone unnoticed. And I think you can see from the smiles on everyone's faces in these pictures, from the testament of kids who didn't think they could make it through, who made it through, who are moving on to bigger and better things, and that is because of our staff and because of this wonderful community. So I get the honor of standing here, or sitting up here in front of you all and thanking you. Just to all who are moving on and enjoying summer, we wish you well. I also recognize that summer is not always a great time for everyone. School is a place where they go to feel loved, and where they go to eat, and where they go to be seen and heard. And I encourage everyone who's listening to reach out to your friends and reach out to those that might need that extra help over the summer. And I just look forward to what is coming this year. I hope everyone gets a wonderful rest. We as a board plan to roll up our sleeves and get started on some really important work that we hope will reflect what is needed and wanted in this community. So thank you.
Joy?
All right. Thank you also to everyone who's here tonight and those who have already departed. But that I love seeing those student performances. It always brings me great joy. And again, just a thank you to the teachers and the staff who put those together. That is incredibly difficult to do. You saw some of those people were in their cars singing and playing their instrument, and you're getting all these different things to put together. So that we just really appreciate that, and it's great in such a strange year that they got the chance to showcase their talents. So I was thankful for that. The graduations, I had the chance to attend 4 of our graduations, which is always, in any year, it's an awesome and celebratory and joyful experience. But this year, I think I'd speak for all of us that it was like extra emotional and exciting, and just happy to see the joy on the kids' faces, and that they made it and they did it and they got to celebrate it with their friends. And which brings me to my own thank you. I could go on and on. None of my stories are quick, and I'm just going to own that, right? But Art Jarvis and I were sworn in on the same day 3 years ago in August, so we literally have done this journey together. And thank you for teaching me how to be a board member, and just sharing your wealth of experience and patience with me, and as we learn along the way. But as far as graduation, thank you for at least the 2 that took place at Mount Tahoma for having just the determination to make it happen, and the willingness to kind of do something different. And so thank you for that. But especially because I could go on and on, but I just want to say that it's been a joy to work with you, and having, as you all know, but I've lived in the town. Possibly Chuck's lived here longer than me, but I have lived here for 30-something years, and raised all 3 of my kids here. And the whole reason I was interested in being on the board is because I love public education, and I love this district and our staff, and just all that is the Peninsula. And except I didn't love all the years my kids were growing up that we could never raise any money and pass a bond and improve our facilities in the way that I felt like our kids and staff deserved. And so to watch you come in, and the timeline is mind-blowing. And I think if you're not a student of how these things are presented and they get approved and then they go to the voters and then the construction starts, and the fact that we, thanks to you, were able to do what we did in this amount of time is incredible. But I remember the meeting where you came to us and said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build 4 schools. And, just the plan was definite and aggressive. And then, so I can't thank you enough. When I drive around and see these buildings, this one in particular, I happen to go by here a lot. it just brings me so much joy because I never thought we would see it. And this is beautiful. And I thank you. And for many years, we will remember the time that you spent here. And so now I release you to go on to my own childhood school district and share some of your magic with them that you have brought to here. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Chuck?
Looks like I can mimic everything that's already been said.
Oh.
No?
Hold it down.
Just hold it.
Gotta hold it
There we go. Okay. Ooh.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it, okay. So I just mimic everything you guys have said already. It has been an honor working with Art. I actually started working with Art in Tacoma School District when we had a kid that was commuting from here over to Tacoma for some of the great classes that were offered over there, the Montessori program. And so Art probably doesn't remember me in some of that, but we met in some of the parent groups, and it's been an honor, and thank you for taking us to the next step. Watching these videos and just reflecting back, I gotta say thank you to Chris and the staff, because it really makes me realize just how much Chris and that staff did this year. Everybody did so much, from the food service to the teachers to everybody just performed beyond their level of expectation. And so it's anything we can do in the future with Carol and the staff to help bring things back together and put things back on course. You have my support, and we will really be working on that. We need to get these schools open for the kids. I see it too. These kids need to be back here. Watching that with some of those kids in those cars was heartbreaking. You know, they shouldn't be doing that in a car. So we need to work hard this summer to make things right. And yeah, I just feel like I'm coming into this district at a bad time and a good time. There's
Definitely trial by fire.
Each day I cry for joy and for sadness with these new schools, but for the heartaches of these kids that are struggling. And we just have to really make this right. And we got this summer to try and get things ready for the next school year. I'll finish up by just saying that I was very honored to be at the presentation for the Hugh McMillan Community Center dedication. It was a little premature. We weren't really ready to do it, but we felt we needed to recognize Hugh and get him out there. And I just felt so honored to be there with him for that, and let him know that we cared about all he has done for this school district. And with that, I'll shut up.
Thank you. Deb?
Button.
Oh, I was like, church? I seriously thought that. Sorry, that's immediately what I thought. Okay, the high school graduations, thank you for making it happen. I had a graduate last year who didn't have in-person graduation, and last year they rolled with it and did their best, but after going to his sister's graduation this year in person, I kind of looked at him. He was standing kind of sad. I'm like, what you thinking? He's like, I didn't realize what we missed, and it hurt. And so talking about Michael Chandler's comment about normalcy, thank you for giving us some normalcy this year for these graduates, as well as others. Although I will say Harbor Ridge may stick with the car parade, so they love it so much better than they're in person. So anyway, So thank you to the district. Again, we've got great feedback on the outside venue, so that may be another thing that we need to discuss later. They appreciated the 6 tickets per family, which was fantastic, or per student, actually. We had a lot of twins. They got 12 tickets. And really appreciated the students that delivered messages at graduation. Very heartfelt and great to hear those kids be such strong representatives of themselves and their schools and their families. The car parade, again, although it rained on our parade, people really enjoyed it. And I don't know if that will continue, but I know that the families and kids really enjoyed the car parade that we did for the high schools. Thank you to the city council, or to the city of Gig Harbor Cruisers that joined us. They're beautiful cars in the rain. YMCA, Gig Harbor Fire Department, and Police Department, and Neely Construction for making that happen, and Patrick, because we needed that parking lot over there, so we used that. So thank you. I myself, well, before I go into my second board comment tonight, I had a conversation with my 14-year-old the other day, and we were talking about grades, and he's like, "Mom, why doesn't everybody just get an A? Like, I don't understand." And I went off by saying, well, you know, honey, there's differences in family situations, there's learning disabilities, there's language barriers, there's lots of things, so that, you know, they can't, or it's harder. And that conversation really struck me, like, why aren't, grades aren't everything, but why aren't all kids succeeding in our district? And really, guys, I got to go to a WASDA and a WASDA training, which is our superintendent and school director program, our associations that we all are a part of, and we've gone to trainings with them. And really the crux of SB 5044 is training for us directors and for our teachers to help. The major focus is meeting the needs of our students in our district. That's the focus of that bill, and I'm learning more and more about it. And so we need to look at who we're serving in our district and identify the differences in student outcomes, and then address those differences and have the courage to address those differences so that everybody has the opportunity to succeed. That is what that bill is about. And there is no curriculum for students in that bill. There's no teaching for students in that bill. It's training for us so that we understand, why isn't every kid getting an A? I want to better understand that. I want to understand inclusion. I want to understand those barriers. And this training is going to help us do that. I got a first preview of it. Training is being developed by WASDA. I'm sure it would be made public. So that is there. Our district has been doing inclusion work for a long time. This is nothing new. We address equity and inclusion issues in our schools all the time. And as a board, we need to address it through our policies and our priorities that we put into our strategic planning coming up. So that is something that we can look to as a board. So I was glad to learn about that more, and I have been poking it and finding out more about it. The Karen Flynn Award, Natalie, I totally agree with you. Every dang teacher, custodian, Carol's list earlier, just, they all deserve it. It's been a unbearable year, and we got through it together. Not only all of those folks, but our teachers, our parents, and most importantly, our students. I thank everybody for getting us through this year. And then I talked about the facilities, Dr. Jarvis, but really, first, my thank yous to Sandy Jarvis for letting us have him for 3 years. And then being president during that pandemic year was one that was more challenging than anything I've ever faced in my life. And I was awake many, many nights. I had lots of tears every single day. And every time I would go in to sit with Dr. Jarvis, he was calm, he settled me down, he gave me that hope at the end of the tunnel. And bottom line, he got our kids back in school faster than any other district, and I know that that is what is best for kids. So I thank you for getting me as a board member through this time. I have thoroughly enjoyed our 3 years. And then I won't even go into how much I appreciate the buildings, except that I came here 13 years ago, and we contemplated public versus private schooling. And we saw the teachers in our buildings. We saw the programs in our buildings, and we said, we're going to put our kids in public schools. But the buildings are horrible. So my husband said, your job is to fix these schools. And any dollar that we were going to send to a private school, give it to the school district to fix these schools. And it took 13 years. My kids are through the system. They won't enjoy this, but I get to enjoy it today. So thank you. You made my dream come true, and my husband's wishes as well for our district and community. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Like the rest of the board, I thought the graduations were amazing. It was so nice to be back in person. Both the ones at Mount Tahoma and the drive-up. The drive-up was raining pretty hard, so it wasn't as good a turnout, but the enthusiasm was still there. I appreciate the fact that Dr. Jarvis allowed or changed the graduation ceremonies to include the board into the process this year. I thought, for me, it was an honor to be able to be up there and be handing out diplomas to the students and stuff. It's a little outside the norm, but I hope that we can continue to do that, because it's a lot better than playing ping pong, watching people go back. But it let the board feel why, for me anyway, to feel why we're doing this, so getting those kids to graduation. I had to go up to Mr. Bill on Sunday. For anyone that wasn't at the high school graduation, Mr. Bill from Peninsula High School was reading the names, and the wind was blowing the water from the previous night on the tarp, and poor Mr. Bill, the water just poured on top of his head. And to his credit, he just kept, must be the drama teacher in him, but he just kept reading names, didn't miss a beat. And then when it went to the other side, Mr. Bill moved the podium about 2 feet, and he started reading some names, another gust of wind, and water poured right on his head. Didn't miss this spot, it hit him on the head. And, but he just plowed right through it, and he just did. So it was a comical moment, but it was just really sort of a funny part of the day. And Mr. Bill just, I made sure to congratulate him for being so great through that. As Chuck said, I think all the board was honored to be at Evergreen last week and dedicate the current gym to become the new Hugh McMillan Community Center. And that'll be around for, a long time, and dedicated to a wonderful member of our community. It's been such a powerful force in our school district for probably 50 years. I went to CTP graduation. Some of us were at that. CTP and CTT, those are some of the most emotional and moving graduations, to see those some of them 21 years old that, highly special needs, and just to be able to be up there and the expressions on their face that they got their diploma against all the odds is just so very emotional. We all got to go to the Henderson Bay graduation last week. Those are always fun. And I've yet to see the principal get through without crying, so I don't feel so bad. So, like everyone else said, it's been quite a journey. No one expected when we hired Dr. Jarvis as an interim that he would be there for 3 years, but he came in after we'd failed a bond in 2018. A lot of people sitting up here on the days, worked very hard for that bond. A lot of people in this room worked hard for that bond, and unfortunately it did not pass. Dr. Jarvis, with his 700 years of experience, came in. He analyzed our plan from the previous year, and he said, here's what I think needs to be done. And he had a definite plan, and he told us what it was, and we supported it. And we went out and worked hard again, clearly defined what the goal was, and in 2019 we overwhelmingly passed a bond. So the community was amazing for that. He accepted numerous board challenges over the last 3 years, picking up, doing the land swap with Penn Met Parks, like Deb mentioned, was crucial for us to build the drain field and the parking lot behind what is now Pioneer Elementary. His intuition, because we weren't certain that the bond was going to pass, to buy the Boys and Girls Club when that purchase fell through, proved to just be a godsend, a gift that we just didn't see coming, and it was just amazing. He said in 2 years he opened that school in 1, so that was I had to buy him a bottle of scotch for that, but he did a great job on that. But it's certainly been with challenges. We thought we were going to told the taxpayers we'd build the schools in 4 years, and he was able to get them done in 2. Like Deb said, it with fiscal responsibility, state funds, impact fees, everything else, to be able to fully modernize 2 middle schools without another vote of the people is just absolutely amazing. And hat goes off not just to Art, but the entire school district and the capital projects team, Jeff and Integris and everything. It's just everyone made that possible, and just so proud of that. And driving by for the last years and watching these, I take a tour of the building, I'm like, no way, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to be done. And then all of a sudden overnight, it's done. It comes together, and just what a joy this building is going to be for years and years to come. It was not easy, like everybody said. A 100-year pandemic challenged the board day and night. I think all of us missed many, many days of nights of sleep. I know we battled with various entities to keep our schools open. Art and the board and collaborated with various entities in the school to keep our students and staff safe. So I appreciate the work with the various bargaining units to work with the school district to get our teachers and our staff and our students in school safely. It wasn't perfect, but like Deb said, it was faster than anyone else. And so I'm very proud of our school district for doing that, partnering with the county. So really, really, really proud of our school district and everyone involved for that. What else? During the pandemic, I think people just, obviously some people that they're dealing with their own internal issues during the pandemic, but during that time, we did build 4 new schools. We got the Henderson Bay Academy stood up, the Navy JROTC stood up. Just so many different things that Art and his staff and the school district were able to get done, sort of covertly, that all these things were being done during the cloud of a pandemic. But we've made it through, and just, so proud of everybody that was involved. And let me just see. So I think that's it. And so I would just say, on behalf of the whole board, Art, I congratulate you for a job well done. I wish you very well in Bellevue. And thank you.
Quick story.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. A couple of quick thoughts, no stories. First and foremost, thank you for the wonderful words. If anybody wants to wonder why I still do this work, I think you've seen a sample of that. I get to work with some fabulous people in ways that hopefully solve some of the problems and serve our kids in the community, and really a community for years. So I tell people it's a blessing to be allowed to do it as long as I've been able to do it and to experience this kind of community. A message I would have to the Peninsula community is I sometimes wonder if you really know what you have, and it's easy to get into squabbles and differences of opinion, but this is a beautiful community, got a wonderful staff. It's this board is indicative of a variety of opinions and thought and good debate and good discussion, but also a way to do it that you come together and serve the whole community and serve all of the kids. I've been asked why, if I was going to work another year, why didn't I just stay in Peninsula? And I want to make sure everybody hears my answer, because selfishly, I would stay another year in a heartbeat. This community needs to be able to know that they've got a superintendent that's going to be here for 5 years or 10 years, and and build on a long-term plan and dream, and not wonder if Art's gonna start to drool on the podium. The reality is that it was time, and, you know, the old story is, old soldiers just fade away. I fade away my own way and then find some other places. But what a wonderful place. I have been blessed with so many things, but one of the things that I've been blessed with is all of you and the broad community. Carol might shudder at having to spend another year with me if we did, but the reality is she represents a fantastic group of staff and really all of the groups. We've talked a lot about this facility because it's brand new and we're here on remarkable terms, but it took an entire staff of people. It took an entire community to pull this off, and yes, I'll be proud of the part I played, but by no means was this a one-man show. This would not have happened without all of the people who did what they did from I think what you had done before I got here, and certainly that fall, and a relatively short campaign to really point out that in this community, you had everything to be proud of except the facilities. How did that go wrong? And now we're on a path. So I would say if I were here, I'd probably be pushing a bond issue in February of '22 to go the next step. And I say that because there's so much work that needs to be done on the next stage and the next stage to take this district. Katie, as we celebrate you and the food service people, we've been now through this bond issue, we've given you 6 new kitchens instead of working out of closets and out of the hallways and literally no place to cook or warm or do what you've done. It's been entirely on the backs of the people who have done an absolutely gorgeous job, regardless of the facility. So in return, we now are on that way of what we can do. And I just use that as one example out of the thousands. And as you've come tonight, some of you to express some thoughts on what's ahead, I just encourage you to celebrate what we have. There are lots of problems to solve, lots of complexities in our world. I have truly been gifted. I will finish with a thank you to my lovely wife. She's the only spouse I know of a superintendent that has attended board meetings year after year after year. People look at her and wonder if she's crazy. But the reality is she has done that to be a support to me and allows me to do this. This may be a funny way that we spend time together. But I thank her from the bottom of my heart for allowing me. So when the topic came up, well, is it time to hang it up? Her comment that I'll share with you is, I don't think I know what to do with you 7 days a week at home. So she allowed me to take that next step, and I will be checking in. I hope I can come back for some of the celebrations and grand openings of buildings, and the real joy will come from watching kids wandering these hallways. Not too long, not too distant from now, you'll be able to actually walk the hallways and see this beautiful building, the one in Artendale and Evergreen. And I think Hugh is no longer with us, but you're talking about a proud principle of what's coming in that school on the hill. So that's a long, wordy way of saying thank you for a beautiful 3 years in my career. Thank you all.
With that, we adjourn at 8. Art didn't talk past 8. That was perfect.